Hello, good afternoon. It's very warm Tuesday afternoon. My apologies for being late. We've had a exclusive interview that you can catch tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm looking for James to give me the nod as to whether it'll be ready.
We will reveal who it is at the end of the show, so you're going to have to watch the whole show to find out who it is.
There you go. There you go. So, tonight, do it. And that really should be the video that pushes us over 100k, really, if people have got anything about them.
Absolutely.
But we'll see. James has put the title based on a story that was out yesterday, and a tagline, The Athletic, wasn't it, and for the New York Times, which basically alluded to some Everton players maybe changing their status at Everton with that performance at the weekend.
Yeah.
I think it means Michael Keane. If I'm being honest. No, I do. If I'm being honest, because obviously we know Adelaide Decore has been saying that he hasn't had an offer yet, but there's been stuff saying Everton might do. We know Dominic Calvert-Lewin, David Moyes just sort of said, well, we haven't offered him anything yet, but he wasn't on long enough for that one. Yeah. Maybe Ashley Young, because he played. Yeah. Although there's a story today saying that he's not going to be kept on, but I don't know how much I read into that. And I'm trying to think of anyone else. Jack Harrison, well, the manager took him off after an hour, so I'm not sure whether that means. So it seemed, maybe if you read between the lines, it's sort of like, I wonder if they actually mean Betto as well. Because let's start with Betto, because I know you are his number one fan. No, in all fairness. With Betto, obviously the lad puts the ball in the back of the net, and it can't be the top scorer. That's the way it is. And therefore, let me reword this. Is there any fear in you? Because I spoke about this last week, saying I do have a bit of hesitancy. I love Betto because I love the fact that he wants to do so well for Everton Football Club. And I think players like that are few and far between now at clubs. But I do understand when people will pick out his limitations. The manager mentions it and says how much he's trying to work on them. I think the lad himself did an interview last week saying, I know I've got to work harder on different things. Get all that. But in terms of someone who regularly puts the ball in the net, leaving our squad, have you changed your thought process on that, or are you still sort of happy if he was to?
No, because I do understand, I do appreciate the sentiment. And listen, if Everton, by the way, if Everton kept him, I'd have no issues whatsoever. Yeah. But I do think you have to put it into context. A player who will be 28 next birthday.
But he's still under contract.
He is under contract, but what I'm going to say is if an offer came in that could reframe Everton's PSR and allow us to get a player who's better than him and also replace him, then I think that has to be taken into consideration. I think you have to put sentiment to one side. And I think it's brilliant how well he's done. Really is brilliant. I'm chuffed for the lad, honestly. But I think you have to... I think in an ideal situation, if there was no PSR, then you'd keep him. Of course you would keep him. He scored goals in the Premier League. And he's not great on the eye, is he? He is just a player who comes alive when you put the ball in front of him. But I think under the circumstance, you have to find those halfway sort of measures. And I think he is one of them. He's good enough that people will be attracted to buy him, but maybe not good enough that you want him to be starting for Everton every week, or you want better. And that's all we want. We want better. And I think emotion obviously comes into it. You've seen a lad really doing well, living a dream. But there's the flip side. If someone offered us really good money for him, then what could it do? But the manager sort of hinted at that. He said he knows his limitations, which is, I think what he meant by that is we can tell him stuff and he doesn't get offended by it. We can say to him, listen, you need to... Football, imagine how many egos are in football. It's literally ran on ego. Because if you don't have ego, you'll never succeed. If you can't like say I'm good enough, then you're never going to get ahead. So he's in that sweet spot at the moment, and Everton really have to look at that. And if you're looking at things from a real cold place, this is the summer to sell him, because there's no point next summer because of what's left on his contract.
Well, he'd have 2 years. He's got 3 years left.
Okay,
so
well,
even if he stayed another year,
I'm just looking at. Okay,
I know.
It might be more, but what it might be is more difficult.
No, it may well be.
Might
but
be
then
more
again,
difficult.
If he scores the same amount of goals next season.
But that's a big if, though, isn't it? That's a big if.
I don't know. I think he'll still get goals.
I think that's a big if. I still think he's technically still got a lot of work to do, and I think that sweet spot's still there. That Everton will be tempted to sell him. He ain't gonna be. He's never gonna be my first choice striker. I think Everton need to get better. They need someone who can score goals and is good in possession, that can hold the ball up and build the play. On Saturday, you seen both sides of him. For a lot of the game, everything was breaking down the minute.
But he was wrestling too.
No, he was. But also he goes down far too easily.
Sure, when Dom comes on, he's just so.
No, well, let's not talk about Dom now.
No,
let's put Dom to what. This conversation about Dom and Betto is stupid.
What I'm saying is, I think the manager will want 3 forwards.
Yeah.
So if you're giving me Betto as one of them for next season, I'm fine.
But what if you can't have the first choice one if you don't sell Betto, though?
But I don't believe that's even.
See, I do, though, because of PSR.
But PSR is basically on June 30th. It's gone.
But it isn't, though.
No, it is.
You've still got an opportunity. Everton have still got an opportunity. Everton have got an opportunity to bring players in this summer, but they've still got to keep an eye on it. And if they can sell a player for really good money, and there aren't that many at Everton because there's so many.
We'd have to sell them by June the 30th, because otherwise it doesn't matter.
Well, that's
once July 1st.
Don't you think this is already in consideration?
No, I'm saying once July the 1st comes, 62 million drops off, and then that puts Everton in the in the clear when you add in.
Not if you want to go big, though. No, but if you want to,
I'm taking my thing from John, who looked through the Swiss Ramble, who's given everyone's PSR picture and everyone's financial picture. So Everton would still be able to spend 150 million this
But if
summer,
Everton want to go big, right?
But how much do you believe Everton will spend? Not cash wise, but acute.
I honestly don't know.
Numbers wise,
I want them to spend an absolute fortune, but it's whether they do.
I think 120 million. I think Everton will spend this year, which isn't huge.
No, I honestly don't know what they'll spend, because I don't.
Because in cash terms, that'll only be 50 million, 60 million, which is nothing really.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of clubs will spend 100 million this summer. Leeds will spend easily 100 million this summer. So I think the average, when you break down what people spend in the Premier League, it's generally 100 million.
Yeah.
So Everton going big, it'd be double that.
Yeah.
It'd be 200 million. But I don't think they've got the headroom for 200 million. But it's interesting. It's an interesting one. Charlie Alcaraz, I know he got your man of the match at the weekend. I thought he played really well. I think when he's breaking with the ball, I think he's different than any other player we've got. Yeah. I think he works hard. I think he's good in possession. There's bits of his game missing, but I think he's 22 years of age. And I think a pre-season and more coaching from the manager and things like that, I think he'd be, for me, that's almost a no-brainer, that one, as to whether we keep him. What are you thinking with him?
No, I think we should do the deal.
Yeah.
I think we should do the deal. It's I think that is a no-brainer. I really do. I think it should be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashley Young, come on. We played at the weekend, thought he was fine. I thought, what we're sort of seeing with Ashley Young is probably what we thought we were going to get with him when we signed him.
Yeah.
As in, he plays now and again, and he does a good job.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't be the first choice at that age, just anyone really, unless you're Luka Modric, and even he'd say he shouldn't be first choice at the age he's at. I think he's done all right. I'm just wondering whether the manager's looked at him and gone, you know what, if Seamus is maybe going to be more coaching and playing, then Ashley Young staying around, and it won't just be the manager, will it? But Ashley Young staying around mightn't be the worst thing in the world. What do you think?
I don't mind Ashley Young staying for another year. I really don't. I don't think it's I don't think for me it's an issue if he stays. I really don't. I think for a year on doing what he's done this year, I don't think it's a problem. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then what about Michael Keane then? Because obviously, I can hear people aggressively throwing things at me.
Why would they do that?
But, this is a lad who's essentially a squad player. Played well at the weekend, he did. Scored a goal. But do you think that's almost... the manager was quite complimentary about him, but he will because the lad probably is a hard worker and we know he's a nice lad. And all of that. Or do you think really, for him and us, it's probably the right thing to do to move on from?
I think he should be playing football somewhere.
At 32.
At 32. I think he should be playing football. I think he's good enough to play football. He could maybe go back to Burnley and, finish the season, come back and play in the Premier League. We'll have that other kid.
Esteve.
Yeah. So, yeah, listen, what happened on Saturday is typical of Michael Keane, isn't it? When everyone writes him off, he suddenly comes and has a decent game. We've seen that a few times, but we've also seen the other side of him where that doesn't happen. So, for me, I'd let him go, and you want to bring in sort of the next one, and you want someone who's maybe 24, 25, pushing to get in the team every week. Someone who may be able to play as a fullback as well, if you're depending on where you are with the squad. Let's just on Saturday, if Jared Brantwaite had gone off injured, what would you have done?
Well, I was looking and thinking, is it going to be blooming? Is Seamus going to come on and play centre back? But I think we could have done that. He was warming Patterson up, wasn't he? So the only other option would have been Michalenko to centre back, left footed, and maybe Patterson just go and not play at left back, or would he have moved Young to left back and Patterson? It would have been a real mix, but we know Michalenko's played there as a part of a three.
So my thought was on Saturday, Michalenko would have gone to centre back, left-sided centre back. So what if Everton could get a left back in, really good left back, modern day left back, and start looking at moving Michalenko into being a left-sided centre back, and having that.
Not really tall enough though, is he? I think he can do the job. Don't get me wrong, because he's done it. I think in a three you sort of get away with that, but we'd be going from a 6'5" left-footed centre back to a what's Miko 5'11" maybe.
Yeah, I think we've just got.
We have got big.
I don't want to call them freaks, but
we have got big lads.
We've got rather large centre backs, haven't we? But there's I just think, could that be an option?
I don't know because I think he's we know he's really good 1v1, don't we? I think Moyes
He's a defender.
Want more, won't he?
He's a defender, isn't he?
Yeah. Moyes will want more, and I think, when you think of David Moyes and you go, he sort of had his fullbacks so high when maybe not everyone was doing. Well, in fact, he was the hybrid, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Coleman and Baines. Man City, Pep basically copied Moyes.
Yeah.
But we had them so high, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, Miko's more of a defensive fullback. So I imagine Moyes will be looking at an attacking. I mean, you'd love that. Kirkos, wouldn't you? But he'll go to Liverpool, won't he? But he's the type, isn't he? He's the type. Kirkos. He's the type that you want to be looking for. Someone who plays really high. Because I've got and again, I know what your answer's going to be, yeah? But I've got a feeling I've got a feeling that Jake O'Brien's going to be our right back next season.
Well, I hope not.
And Everton will I think Everton will get another one. I hope it isn't Kufal, because I just think his age, because he's had a contract at West Ham and Moyes has had him before. If you're going to go out of contract, go and get Tarek Lamptey or go and get Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah.
See, Kyle Walker-Peters makes so much sense.
Yeah. Because
he's 27, loads of Premier League experience, can play right side or can play left side.
Yeah.
That everything about that makes sense to me. I did say yesterday I don't love me left backs being right-footed. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think it takes away a big part of your
stops them,
game. But I just look and think Moyes might want to hide left back who's flying forward, and he'll have the insurance of Jake O'Brien making it a 3 across. I might be massively wrong there. He might buy 2 fullbacks. I might be way off base there. But it wouldn't surprise me given the solidity of that when he's there with Tarkowski and with Brandwaite. That maybe he'll go for more of an attacking left back.
Maybe. I just don't like the idea of Jake O'Brien playing right back. But
long term. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But if it listen, if that's what the manager wants in the short, medium term, then we'll see.
Gary Board says, howdy. Paddy says, afternoon, lads. I hope everyone's enjoying the sun and the away wins. Certainly are. Steve P says, Bazzier onto the centre mid for Strasbourg, Felix Lemarchal. Literally every player in their team is... Yeah, I think we just go and get half a Strasbourg team. Just bring it over here. We'll have a Mega. We'll have Habib Diarra. We'll take Lemarchal. Why not? Get them in. They might want a couple of our players.
Why wouldn't you?
Just do it. Just do it. He says, I'm sure they have the youngest average team in Europe. The Chelsea ownership have definitely followed Brighton's model. I'm hoping the Friedkin group do the same if they sell Roma with a club in France or Belgium. Interesting. Gareth says, the emotion of this week is dawning on me now. Gonna be an absolute mess on Sunday. I just hope we win comfortably, or a last minute Seamus goal would be nice. Just don't lose, as I don't care what people say. It sour the mood in the immediate aftermath. No, it absolutely would, Gareth. The manager's done really well, I think, in putting it fully on the players and going, this is the biggest game of the season. I mean, what have you made of the manager's comments like that?
No, I think he's absolutely right, isn't it? It's a huge occasion, and it has to be looked upon like that. It's going to be massive. It's going to be a massive event. People are getting to Goodison for like 8:30 in the morning. It's going to be a massive event in this club's history. It needs a performance that reflects it, and it can't be. You can't like ignore it. Like loads of people might go, "Oh, yeah, but it's just a game." You know, that's for them. We've got to. It's important. He'll know. I'm sure he'll have the Ipswich game. He'll have gone. We should have won that for. So he'll be the same, won't it, for this? We have to win the game, but also it's not just about going. Last game at Goodison Park, Everton won. It's about reflecting the whole time we've been at Goodison Park, and it deserves a true send off. And he'll be getting it through with his plays. I imagine that he'll be getting it into them that this is a massive occasion for the players, the club, the fan base. You know, it's just never going to happen for a lot of them in their careers again. They're never going to have a game like this, so it needs to be done right. Hopefully it will be. Yeah,
it's a big game, and it's a game. It's a must-win, isn't it? You're absolutely right. We can talk about it not mattering, and it doesn't overall, but actually it does, because we're talking about you're bringing PSR up again there. All we need it for PSR. Yeah. Well, if Everton finished 13th, right, and we just need a couple of results to go our way.
Yeah.
Right? West Ham are own to Forest. Well, Forest need a win.
Yeah.
And then they go to Ipswich. Yeah. So they're not two absolute givens for West Ham. Well, they're not. Neither of them are givens. West Ham have shocked themselves by winning at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
You know, so neither of them are a given for West Ham. And we'd need Palace to just not lose to Wolves at home. And Palace will want to win because they're 12th.
Yeah. Get that
always 12th. And therefore, if we beat Southampton, we'll finish 13th. When you put that against our PSR, did we finish 16th last season or 15th?
Who could honestly...
Even if it was 15th, finishing 13th would be 6.2 million.
Yeah.
Against our PSR because of what we got last year. Plus. So therefore, you know, that'd negate a certain amount of money as well. So it is important that we do it. It's not going to mean we can get extra 7 players because we win that game, but it's important to be in the healthiest financial position. It's also important for momentum.
Yeah.
To look and go, well, yeah, we finished, above Manchester United, we finished above Tottenham. Now people can go, well, that'll never happen again and all that. And you don't know, do you? But it's happened this year. And it's happened in a year when we didn't start playing till Christmas. Well, not even Christmas, till January. With 3 wins after half a season. And therefore, the manager's created momentum. The team have lost 4 games in 17 under David Moyes. So, if we have that next season, then we'll... if he done exactly what he's done in the 17 games so far, then across a full season next season, then we'd be on for a 50-point season at least. He's on 25 points already, and that's what we'd be on. Yeah. So if we win on Sunday, then you extrapolate that next season over a full season, you're talking 50 to 56 points. That puts Everton borderline top half, and in some seasons actually in the Conference League of position. And he's done that. He's done that with, players that he probably wouldn't have picked if he was given the choice. So therefore, if you add a bit of quality into that, and he can get that team spirit, getting results like that, keep the defence solid, then Everton can have another solid season, a good season next season. But finishing 13th means that when you're going for players, and they look at where you finished, you go, but when this manager and the new ownership come in, we were here. Look where we finished. Look who we finished above, and we're ready to spend again. And we're moving into a new stadium. All the momentum feels like it's upward momentum, and therefore players can be convinced who you might not go. So it is key we finish strongly. I think he's right to say it's the biggest game of the season and send the Goodison Park off with a win.
Absolutely, and stop anyone moaning.
Well, that's it. Ryan Collinson says Michael Oliver's the referee and Craig Pawson's the 4th official. For the last game.
They knew what they were doing.
It's given me horrendous anxiety. Go out and just win the game. They shouldn't be worried about a referee or the 4th official for this one. Southampton are relegated. Yeah. They put 15 men and 4 fans behind the Man City attack on the weekend to try and keep a clean sheet. I doubt they'll come and play the same way at Goodison, because they were trying to get above Derby's points, weren't they? Yeah. But they might, and then it's up to Everton to break them down. But Everton don't play like Man City. No. So it'd be a different game, of course. Everton couldn't have handpicked a better game. No. He couldn't have done. Whether they go and do what they should is on the players and the manager and the fans, right? But for me, you could not handpick a better team to play. So it's up to us to go and do it. We could have had someone like City or Arsenal, couldn't we? And that would have been like, oh, for God's sake. So Nick says a good summer involves keeping Betto. If Dom leaves, we don't have a guaranteed 9. Who's starting week in, week out. If we get the lap or someone else and he doesn't work, we can use Betto, because a lot of strikers are going to be in demand by other Premier League teams. The lad has his limitations with his touch and his passion, but if we get quick players on the wings, I feel Betto could get 15 if he was our starting 9. With wingers, you can put decent balls in and come up with 6 or 7 goals. Yeah, solid logic there. Gary said it's always good to have a few veteran players on the squad in terms of Ashley Young. Matthew says Betto only signed a 4-year deal, so therefore if he did, then it's back to you if the 2 years out.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So 2 years out, then maybe there is that decision.
That's silly bad down to your knowledge.
Well, no, I was thinking it was 5, but it might have been 4 because of his age, yeah. James says Charlie should be done after Saturday's performance. So much more to come, in my opinion. Buck says, I reckon it's Dan the man Friedkin that you've been interviewing.
No, it's not, because there's nowhere in the car park for his plane to land.
No.
That's a major issue.
It is a major issue. We'll have to sort that. Or go somewhere else,
Well,
maybe.
the airport's not that far away.
No, so we'll go there. Paddy says, Ashley loves us too. Haha, mad bunch. Bainey says, we don't have the luxury of goal scorers in this team, and anyone coming in will be an unknown. I'd rather stick with Betto, as he is now proven in the side and can still get better. Age is slightly against him. Is the lap better? Age, yes. Goals, I'm not so sure. Well, at the moment, goals, because the lap's got more than him. But sort of get your points. That's where I am. We've got a proven a lad who's scoring goals, so I think it is a more difficult decision than just going sell him.
Yeah.
Because if there was other players scoring goals, you'd go, well, look at the team, but there isn't. Daniel O'Connor says, Baz, you know much about Josh Doig, Scottish left back, 6'2". Is he the kid who was? Did he go to Italy, Doig?
I don't know that name, but
Scottish Doig went to Italy playing in Serie A. Is it Josh? He was there's a few really good Scottish players who have gone over to Italy. Obviously, Lewis Ferguson being one of them. He's very good. Yeah, Josh, he's at Sassuolo in Serie B. A few clubs looked at him, but obviously a few Italian clubs have come and took them. He looks decent, yeah. We've had people like Hickey, haven't we, who went over, who went abroad and is back at Brentford, been injured. Lewis Ferguson, done nearly well, so yeah. Someone asking what time the Winslow opens.
I think it's 8:30.
Is it 8:30? I
think it's 8:30. Yeah, I think all the places down there is 8:30.
Yeah. I've no clue. I don't frequent pubs. I've no clue.
I think it's 8:30.
Jeff says it's obviously going to be Dunk. It's not.
It's not Dunk.
There you go. James says Walker Peters makes sense and free and to spend more on other players. Well, I think Lamptey is a good one. The problem is he's injury prone, isn't he? But we'll see. Where are we? Here, Ahmed says we will get an Angus Kinnear interview as the new CEO. Will we get one? Well, we're trying to get one. So hopefully.
We'll do everything in our powers.
Hopefully. Ian says, let's smash the likes and subscribe. Let's get the guys over 100,000 plus subs for the end of the season.
Please do.
Thank you very much, Ian. Mark Foster says, if Alcaraz doesn't stay, Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth or Palace will take him. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. With that much money, it'd be stupid for one of those not to take him. JS says, is now the time to get Marcel Brands in? I don't think he's coming back. I think he's quite happy where he is. Everton don't want a director of football, do they? They're going to move away from that model. They've got their own sort of structure being in place now. Time will tell whether or not that's the right decision. We've not had great success with a director of football model, have we? We've had 3 of them. Have any of them really worked? There's been varying degrees of success, I think. If you look at it, they've all had some, even Steve Walsh he bought some decent players, didn't he? And others are questionable, but Marcel Brands, I think, had good ideas, but didn't have full autonomy when he should have done, or maybe he should have pushed for more.
Yeah.
And Kevin Thelwell obviously was in the club at a difficult time, but still can't look past. He probably had 6 transfer windows and didn't buy anyone with pace, so I can't look past that. And he stuck with Sean Dyche probably too long. Can't look past that either. So I think they've all had varying degrees of success, if you want to call it success, or they've done, all 3 of them have done some things well and others poorly. So maybe the director of football model, as it is, doesn't quite suit our football club.
The thing is, it might suit our football club right now, but we've we've had. I think I think what is important this summer is, and listen, I have no idea whether the director of football model or whatever model we're moving to is right. And I would imagine
I've got no clue.
99.999% of 1,000 people don't know either, because we cannot predict the way it's going to go. We were all told Dan Ashworth was going to be amazing for Manchester United. It's just gone back to the FA. You don't know how things are going to work when other people get involved. What we needed, in my opinion, was a back to basics reset, and I think that's what we've got. And what might happen now is, with Angus Kinnear coming in and Everton starting to take a more long-term approach, is that as we go along, he might see with the owner and Mark Watts and whoever else is involved, and with David Moyes, they might look at it and go, we need to evolve into something else. And once, because we know where we are, we're at the very sort of bottom layer of what we need to do. We've gone back to basics, and we need to build this up now. I think if we'd stuck with that director of football and we'd done it like blind, then we wouldn't know what we needed to fix. And I think going back to basics maybe is a smart. It's what the Friedkins have done with us and Roma, isn't it? James, the telly's going off. I don't know why you didn't just shout it. Yeah,
you're talking.
I think the Friedkins have gone back to basics on both clubs. It's helped Everton. Obviously get back. What did Roma finish last night?
It was 1-1.
Was it 1-1?
I don't know whether it finished. It was.
Did they lose?
Oh, did they lose? I've seen it was 1-1.
Yeah, they lost 2-1, but they've been doing brilliantly.
That's the first defeat in 20.
They've been doing brilliantly, and they currently stand in 5th, 6th place. So, but they've gone back to basics, and might just be a case, and they've reevaluated, and they're going to maybe, there's talk that Fabregas is going to come in from Como or the Ajax manager. So they've evaluated. They've done the same with Everton, and it's back to basics. And maybe that's what it's going to have to be in the football side of things for the next couple of years, as we try and get Everton back to a level. And then once we get to that level, hopefully, it might be about evolving from that level. But none of us know. No point people going, this will never work, or other clubs are doing it like this now, or whatever. We tried something, and because of various reasons, it didn't work. Doesn't mean it won't work in the future. It could easily work in the future, but maybe we've just got to get those things in place first before, let's get back to walking before we're running.
Yeah. And it's about, as well as getting back to basics, it's also about having owners who want a director of football model enough to let them just crack on with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And listen, I don't know what the Friedkins will or won't do with that, and where they stand on that, but we certainly haven't had that, have we? Farhad Moshiri can say, I never interfered or whatever, but we know that stuff did go on.
Yeah. We know for a fact.
And therefore, you can't look at anyone's tenure then really and go, well, you were given everything and it was you that failed.
Yeah.
So I can.
But we know ourselves that Kevin Felwell believes that he had more ability to do his job once Farhad Moshiri had stepped away from the club. And he said that himself, that he felt like he could do the job properly, ironically, once the owner had gone away. And what does that say about the situation? Now, they're his words, they're not my words, they're his words. So what does that say about the whole thing? But he's been
told that as well, hasn't he, obviously, but yeah.
So that's him saying that. And that's been the whole thing for the last 9 years, hasn't it? Is that someone has always been looking over somebody's shoulder. The owner was looking over the director of football's shoulder. Then Bill Kenwright was looking over the owner's shoulder, and then agents, we know one for which is the same name as a Korean car, was looking over everybody's shoulder, and that's been the problem with the club. We need proper vision. We need a proper vision.
Don't know how it's going to work out, but that's where we're up. So obviously the new CEO took over yesterday. Just on Angus Kinnear, obviously, he's in now. Yeah. So he's in, took over yesterday. And and we'll have to see what he does and where he goes with it. I've listened to him on, obviously, the Leeds podcast.
Yeah, Everton have just
announced.
Hang on, let me just double check embargoes.
Surely it's 4 o'clock. Any announcements?
Yeah, no, I can't tell you till 6 minutes. Check the embargo. Stop myself.
Anyway.
Professional. 6 minutes, I'll tell you what Everton announced.
Or someone will tweet it 1 minute before.
Go on.
Angus Kinnear was obviously very open on the Square Ball podcast.
What? You just looked at it?
On the Square Ball.
4 o'clock. Sorry, my friend. We're doing live stuff. This is what happens. News breaks. We have to get on top of it.
It's probably nothing.
Well, it is. I imagine lots and lots of people are going to be very, very interested in that. Very, very interested. It's not every day.
Mopi's back.
Well, I was going to say that. You've ruined the joke.
Who cares?
Go on.
Who cares? Yeah.
Go on.
I don't know what I was saying though, because you stopped me. So there you go. Honestly, I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about Angus Kinnear.
Angus Kinnear. So he's on the Square Ball podcast, and he's very open on it. Very good, and a lot of what he says was really sort of what you want to hear. I think.
Yeah. It's
obviously easy to go on one of those things and say, we do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And fair play to the lads, if you haven't watched it, go and have a look at it. Fair play to the hosts of that, because they do grill him. They ask him some difficult questions.
Yeah.
They question some of his answers as if to go, wait, the one I'm listening to at the moment.
That's trust though, isn't it?
It's trust. He doesn't have to. He wouldn't go back, would he? I think he's been on it 5 times. Yeah. He wouldn't keep going back, would he?
That's trust.
But on one of them, they're talking about, like, why on earth did you bring, like, Jesse Marsh and things like that?
That's called relationships, right? We've had guests in the studio in the last couple of weeks, right? So we had Luke Garbett in last week. The video will be going out tomorrow, I think, on YouTube. It was out on Toffee TV Premiere on Friday or Sunday, sorry. He stayed for ages afterwards, having a chat. We talked to him before we were on air, having a chat. People come in here and you have a little sit down with them and you have a chat with them, and hopefully they stay afterwards and have a chat with them. Dunk was in here for hours. Rooney was in here for hours. It's about building relationships. Everton Football Club have never allowed us to build relationships with people, which is really unfortunate, because then certain people might get a view of what social media or shows like this are from the outside. But if they come in and sit down with you for 5 minutes, they might get a true understanding of the relationships and the emotion involved and who you are and all that kind of thing. I imagine Angus Kinnear has been in there, sat down with these people, had a nice conversation beforehand, or even just the first meeting mightn't have even been on tape. It might have just been, this is who we are. We'd love to get a relationship with you so we can move forward and do some shows. It's good for us, it's good for you. You get to speak your mind, we get to speak our mind. What's wrong with that? Why are football clubs running away from fans telling them that what they believe are problems at the football club? For far too long, our football club has buried its head in the sand when it's been told.
I think a few of them do.
Well, of course, but I don't care about those other football clubs. I care about Everton. And we've buried our heads in the sand far too many times, in my opinion. So getting someone in who builds relationships straight away and wants to speak with you and is willing to say, hang on, what you heard is a load of nonsense. What you heard is nonsense. I am telling you now, this is how it went down. This is how it happened. Yeah. Just because you might have heard this thing doesn't mean anything. So I'm here to address that situation and tell you all that's not how it happened. It took us till 12:05 to sign that play because of this. We didn't do anything wrong. Someone else did something wrong, and I'm here to tell you that. And hopefully it never happens again, but if it's out of our control, it is. Whatever it is, you've got to build relationships. You sat down with Frank Lampard and got to have a conversation with him, and you hope that might happen again because he's met you and you feel, but if you get rushed into a room and someone goes, this is so-and-so, put you on the clock and they're looking over your shoulder. I got to interview Roberto Martinez twice. You were in the room the second time. Roberto got to the point where he knew what my name was. Now, that might have been simply down to the fella next to him, nudging him, going, that annoying fella's coming in. This, his name is X. But he made an effort, at least. And we liked him right till the end, even though he had to go. We liked him. till the very end. We had a personal relationship with him.
He had to go, but
Yeah.
you're right.
But we liked him. And it's that thing of walking into a room. We walked into a room last week with Dunk, and we got a very, very honest conversation with him that I imagine some of it he didn't say to other people. He was very, very honest and open because he knows us. And that's really important. You walk into a room and you say, I know this fella. I know I can be straight with this fella.
Yeah. And I think if we get that at the top of the club, and if Angus Kinnear does eventually come on and sit down with it, then brilliant. And we can ask those questions. And I think then you build trust with everybody. And then we understand it, don't we? Go on.
Everton women's team are moving to Goodison Park. That is the new home, permanent home of Everton women. So the Everton Football Club is proud to announce that Goodison Park will be become the permanent home of Everton women, transforming English football's first multi-purpose built stadium into the most iconic venue in the Barclays Women's Super League. Go on! The decision follows an in-depth review by the Goodison Legacy Project by the Friedkin Group since the takeover in December to define the future of Goodison. After an in-depth review, the Friedkin Group decided that football must be kept at the heart of Everton's community. When the men's senior team moves to Everton Stadium, Everton women relocate. The move addresses Everton women's rapid growth and need for a larger, more suitable venue than Walton Park. Phase 1 of the transition includes stadium upgrades to enhance the matchday experience and ensure adequate facilities are in place before the start of the season. The relocation will also generate economic opportunities for local businesses through matchday footfall. Goodison will remain a central part of Liverpool's sporting and cultural identity. In addition to hosting Everton women, it will stage select academy matches and expand Everton community's L4 campus. Walton Park will continue to serve grassroots community and development programs for women and girls football. TFG's commitment to women's team has been evident through
evidence.
I
haven't even got the.
I know, evident through recent investments in players and staff. The ambition is to create a team capable of challenging for honours, backed by high quality facilities and a world-renowned home. Angus Kinnear said, "We know how treasured Goodison is, not only to every Evertonian, but to the game itself, and being able to keep such an iconic stadium at the heart of the legacy project is something that has been incredibly important to us. From next season, we are proud to say our women will have an unrivaled permanent home in the WSL," and other statements of intent as we look forward to build the foundations that will help us challenge for trophies. Megan Finnegan says, who's the captain, the move is a testament to where the women's game is right now. More importantly, where it is heading. Goodison is a magical stadium with a deep heritage and close ties to the local community. Leading the team out for the first home game of next season will be nothing short of a career highlight, and the prospect of what Everton women can become with such an iconic ground to call our home is hugely exciting. There you go. And it's big, isn't it? It's big news.
It is big news.
It's big news.
Emma's just said, Emma's a YouTube member, of course, and is a Premier member. Lovely woman. Says, has that taken the shine off Sunday now, though?
No.
It's hardly goodbye, is it?
I do think maybe they should have announced it next week.
I was going to say.
I think maybe they should have.
Got a good point.
I think they should have announced it next week. I think for some people, yeah, there will be that thing of, well, I'll still come and I'll still come back.
I think they've done this so it keeps some people away.
It keeps the chairs in place.
Well, you know what I mean? Some people might go, well, I don't really have to be there then, because I can go next season if I want to watch the women. And I can say me goodbye then. I can still go into that stadium. And do you think? Or not? I'm just asking. I have no idea. I'm just asking what your thoughts are on that.
For some people, it's the end. Well, for 90%, 95%, it's the end. I suppose there's an element there where you can go, well, I still get to, if I really want to, if I need to, I can go back and sit down and watch a game of football. But for most people, that won't be the same. It just won't. No. It just won't. But listen, they've made the decision. They've made their decision. I said a couple of weeks ago my opinions on it. I don't think they've really changed. But listen, they've made the decision, and so be it. Goodison Park survives. People can still go. I imagine they'll continue the tours and stuff like that. Hopefully, I really do hope they get 15,000 people here every other week going to watch the match. I really hope they do. I really hope they sell it in a clever way. If it was me, I'd be offering, I'd be trying to get season tickets to people as quickly as possible off the back of the emotion of things. I'd be selling that. Family tickets to people. Take your kids. In fact, I'd have a season ticket where it was like the adult paid and the kids didn't. You took 2 kids and the kids don't pay none. That's what I'd do. Personally, that's one thing I'd do. You can take 1 kid or you can take 2 kids or whatever it is, and that kid does. The kids don't pay. That's what I'd be doing, and I'd be selling seats now. So that every single game, Everton can say 15,000 today. It's not, because maybe people haven't gone, but that's what I'd do. As Fletch, what did he say? Monetarise grief. Which is what Fletch said.
Classic Fletch.
Monetarise emotion.
Yes, sir, but what about Mashiri? Said advisors have said it needs to be demolished by 2028. Or it need new support.
Well, maybe
installed.
it does. Maybe it does.
Might only be the home for 2 years.
Maybe it does.
Maybe
Listen,
it changes.
do I believe anything that man says? No. Someone told us 15 years ago that the Bullens wasn't going to get pass a safety certificate. Believe nothing these people say. And also,
Matthew, can I just say, you're saying just on Sky Sports now. We broke it at 4 o'clock, mate. So shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Matthew. And you're also, normally a very avid.
Also, if they're truly going to stay there, like long term, they're going to have to make changes to that ground.
They will, yeah.
They're going to have to. Yeah. That main stand is going to have to come down.
Yeah.
At some point. It's going to have to come down. It's number one, the facilities in it aren't good enough, as in like the changing rooms and stuff.
No. Not at all, no.
It's going to have to come down. So, and I think if that come down, and
but if you
got that down right and made 4 sides of it the same height, I think it's fine.
We looked yesterday. We were looking at it yesterday. Obviously, we spent some time in there, and you say in the park end's fine. The lower Gladys Street is okay.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's okay. That's fine. And you could use the family enclosure as well, because that's all right. They could even at the push keep the paddock, but then if you stripped the other bits above it, and that's a big deal, don't get me wrong.
As I said a couple of weeks ago, the biggest problem they've got is all the other stuff, which is like car parking, stuff like that. Like, but then don't get me wrong, that's not a.
They do it now.
No, I'm not. What I mean by that is, you've got to make sure. Like, if people are travelling, make sure Stanley Park is a designated car parking space for them all. Things like that. Make sure people know, because it will be it will be a family thing. Well,
the under-21s, it says apparently selected matches will be at Goodison as well, which means the 21s may well play some games there as well. Because surely they're just going to go to Walton Hall Park. You would have thought. Can't just be Finch Farm or Goodison, can it?
No, it has to be.
Surely Everton will go to Walton Hall Park, the 21s, and then some games.
I sort of get the feeling, though, from what they're saying there, that
they'll both use it.
No, that the under-21, Walton Hall Park will be handed back to the council.
So where will Everton 21s play? Finch Farm and then some at Goodison? Do you think?
I think why wouldn't you play them at Goodison?
All of them.
I'd play all of them at Goodison.
Yeah, no, I would. I'm just saying.
I'd play every single under-18s. And every under-21s game.
They won't play the 18.
All right, the 18. I get
the Youth Cup game. But they'll want them to play at Bramley Moor as well, won't they? Or sorry, the Everton new stadium.
Certainly have the option, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Wals Foz, who's a YouTube member, has gifted 10 channel YouTube membership. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. James, who's a YouTube member, says women's football is massive in the US. I'm sure the Friedkins will have plenty of plans for them in the future.
Listen, as it is huge over there, but there's also a market there, isn't it? There's a market. You've got the World Cup coming in 2035. I know that seems a long way away, but it's coming in 2035. So the WSL actually it rebranded yesterday, didn't it? And obviously, it wasn't put in, but one of the things that they said is the grounds have to be 7,500.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's what's pushed Everton to make this move as well.
Of course. Yeah.
So I imagine I think that's going to get made.
I feel like they should have just held off.
No, I agree. I think
middle of next week would have been fine, wouldn't it? But
there's two ways of looking at that, though, isn't there?
Well, you're saying to people, you don't have to come on Sunday if you haven't got a ticket because you can get in here. You will be able to come back.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It sort of protects that, doesn't it? But
yeah,
who knows?
But it's
Juan says at least the stadium.
Is that blowing hot here?
No.
Feels like it's blowing hot here. I'm roasting. Oh, sorry, you're just getting all.
No, I'm
so what's happening is the air's blowing, hitting you, and then goes hot. Obviously, Housewives' favourite, Bournemouth favourite.
Pack it in, mate.
And it's coming
pack
over.
It in with the Bournemouth stuff. Seriously, pack it in. Stop
Why?
it. Stop
Someone getting annoyed?
Stop it. No, I'm not getting annoyed.
No, I mean other people.
No's more annoyed, Zach.
Bet he is.
He's livid.
Daddy.
Livid. That's what he's like.
Daddy, are we going to have 2 Christmases?
No, he just calls me a no. Hey ho. Say then.
It is what it is. I'm excited to see the plans for it, what they do, what they're prepared to do with it. Because I do think, and I think it's great for the, hopefully for like the likes of the Winslow and stuff.
Yeah.
Because even though it's had the planning permission to become a hotel, it seems like it's that. I don't know whether that's they're keeping that in the back pocket or what, but because they said they were doing buses from there next season, weren't they?
Maybe they will.
I mean, it's good for them, and fair play to them.
It's the end of an era anyway, regardless, because it's the men's team are moving, and that's what most will think of that, won't they? But you can still go there if you need to.
If you need to.
James says, how much do you believe the rumour that we didn't take up the Alvarez deal because of PSR? I'd say Lamptey and KWP can both fight for right back, and one of them would be good cover for both right and left. Yeah, I'd probably take both of them. I'm not sure. To be honest, James, on the PSR thing, I really haven't got a clue, mate. Really haven't got a clue. Don't know. It's the real thing to that. I wouldn't have a the problem with some of these is they sound feasible because you can go, oh, well, that might have been the reason. But I don't know. And I'd just be speculating.
Yeah.
So, AJ says, what are your opinions on flares and smoke bombs? Because personally, I really think they help with the atmosphere. But I also get the points against how it was in the past Everton games, like Man United. Wonder what you think about them. I think, listen, they do help with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
If anyone's got them on Sunday, don't fire them. Like, have them in the air. We saw, one of our own stewards get it with one earlier in the season. Them. Just, you know what I mean? Don't be throwing them. If you've got them, use them sensibly. But,
and when the bus comes, if you don't like them, stay off the Goodison Road and just like welcome the bus at the top or something.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to be walking into smoke.
Yeah.
I seen Sampdoria on Friday night. Their display was absolutely incredible. But it was added to by the flares. So they got the flags and the flares behind it and the colour seeps through. And it looked unbelievable. Like, unbelievable.
Fulham had them things on Saturday.
Fulham aren't a proper football club.
No.
I'm afraid
they had
to
those,
say.
Things that you had at Wolves, the fire.
Oh, God, singe your eyebrows.
Well, it was a bit far away, but the heat off them was like when they were coming, it was mad. I was like, it's roasting as it is. Why have you got bloody flames on a pitch?
I know, my face at Wolves.
Yeah, you and Ned.
I know.
You've both come in like you'd walked through the desert.
And I had a bit more timber on me then as well, so I just looked like...
Derek says, we see defensive drills, but we never see attacking drills. We all know what the Betto ball looks like. So maybe play to his strengths rather than trying to turn him into a Dom hybrid. Disclaimer, I'm not comparing Betto's skill set with Lineker, which is on another planet. But when we bought Lineker, we just won the league by playing through a Rolls-Royce midfield. Even then, we changed our style to a ball over the top to accommodate Lineker's game. I've never heard anyone talking about that he needed to work on his back-to-goal skills. You're absolutely correct.
Different game, though.
Different game, but we
Different
also
game.
had a much better team, so he didn't.
What
need
I would
to.
say is though, football has changed so much because then you had two strikers and the other fella, the big and the little,
He
did that job.
Well, Sharp
for you.
held it up.
That's what I'm saying. So the other fella did that job of the head knockdowns. We were lucky that Sharp scored loads of goals.
Yeah.
Loads of big fellas didn't. That's probably what won us the league. Is that we had,
Well, he was amazing.
and we had when we won the league before, we had Andy Gray could do the knockdowns as well. In the modern age, when you think about it, your target man has to be able to hold the ball up to allow those wide players in. Drogba started, didn't he? That's what got Chelsea going, was having Drogba and then having those incredibly fast wide men. He gets the play going, and it is something whether people agree or not agree. If the ball goes into your striker and you're asking him to hold it up to get your wide men going, he's got to be able to. Otherwise, the attack breaks down. And if you've already committed those wide men and that midfield runner as well, suddenly, if that forward gives it away, you're outnumbered. And we saw that at Chelsea. So it's not the be-all and end-all, but it is massively important in football now.
Ting says, "Hi lads, great show as always, and hopefully the non-subscribers will realise how much time and effort you guys put in on a daily basis.
Thank you.
I'm dreading Sunday and saying farewell to the old lady's heartbreaking. Never thought I'd say that about a building, but it's funny how life moves on. In 2017, I went for an interview with Everton at Goodison for a gardener job. Sadly, it was the same day as my mum's funeral. My dad had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. As his main carer, I talked myself out of the job. I couldn't miss the opportunity of the chance to work with the team I love. Years later, the new lady is built and I've got a stone placed in Everton Way with my parents' name, and I've taken them there. Keep up the good work. Keep up the great work you do. It's programme 1000. Look forward to you daily for updates, debates and laughter. Thank you guys for making me smile. Cheers, mate. Thank you for that comment. If Moyes has 2 or 3 good years, do you think he'll take a seat on the board or some other position in the back? I don't know, mate, to be honest. He seemed, on the overlap, he seemed to talk like that, didn't he? Like he wanted.
Yeah, well, he has sort of put that in place in the last few years, hasn't he? This idea of why aren't experienced managers allowed to become directors of football? Why are we ignoring them so much? So maybe that's what, maybe he's shaping his own future, and putting that all in place for him to sort of take over as a director of football or whatever he wants to call it one day. But I think what it'd have to be, he'd have to trust the fellow who's coming in after him. So maybe that's what he's going to be doing for the next couple of years as well, is hopefully getting that fellow in place, because he's already seen quite spectacularly what happens when someone brings you in, announces you're on the pitch, and it all goes a little bit wrong. It can be spectacular if the visions don't align. You know, he went into Manchester United and the first thing he did was get rid of all the old, which he should never have done. I think he knows that now. So if he set it up with the person who's going to take over and they're already bedded into the system, isn't that what people have sort of been calling for? That next step?
We'll see. James says, Mashiri and his gang told us the new stadium could get to 60,000. Believe nothing, the man says. Benji says, I'm well happy Everton are keeping Goodison in some capacity. It's part of our history and English football history. Sog says, raft of new ladies' toilets installed in every stand. Goodison will finally be female friendly and accessible for kids. And Buck says, do you think fools like me who bought the grass from the last season can get our money back? Or just forget it and smoke the damn thing?
Yeah. I think the seat thing is also a little bit like, 1 week they're charging you 90 quid for your seat, and then the next minute they're telling you they're not going anywhere. So that's a bit like, do you know what I mean? Does that mean, so if I go, I'm not buying my seat, but I'll just get a season ticket and I'll just go sit in it every week? Do you know what I mean? It's still there.
You can do if you want.
It feels like...
Bainey says, that is outstanding news. Goodison lives on. Made up. Well done, the Friedkins. And Steve Guy says, keep Betto 1 goal every 2 games is excellent. That's his record, isn't it? If we could buy that, we'd be made up. Georgie Ismo says, I've been under the impression Goodison Park was too expensive to run. How are the women's team going to fund it?
Who told you that? I don't think it's ever been too expensive to run. It just doesn't make any money.
Feels like it is, but...
Yeah, it just doesn't make any money, does it? It doesn't make any money.
It might. I don't know. I don't know. They must have looked, mustn't they? Who knows? It is an Everton fan, this, Edward. You're right.
Because it's blowing hot here.
Blowing. Joshua Venegas says, are you coming to the US? Yes, because I have my tickets for the Atlanta game in the Everton fan section. I hope to see you there. We'll see you in Atlanta then, Joshua. Absolutely. Will says, I think Moyes will take the Scotland job next. Sophie says the ex-West Ham United employee, who's got a big Twitter account, hasn't he? Said that, or she, could be a she, said the other week they're quite good for West Ham. They are. Says that David Moyes isn't very fond of Kufal. So yeah,
Isn't.
Yeah.
It's just an easy link, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's all right. Sophie's just giving us.
No, I'm just saying it's just been an easy link, hasn't it?
I think because he's out of contract as well, people are just going, oh yeah. He does like Souček though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be one where you'd be like massively shocked if Souček come to Everton. Not saying he should, by the way, but it'd be one where you'd go, yeah, I can see that one happening.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it will, of course. But right, there you go.
Be back in 40 minutes on
Toffee TV Premier.
So go on then.
Mr. Blaine will be in there. In the
Mr.
hot
Blaine.
Seat. Mr. Blaine will be in the hot seat.
So go on then. Who did your interview today then?
I'm saying.
You're not saying.
I'll be saying.
You just said.
As soon as you say it.
Have you got the picture?
What,
I thought you had the picture.
What are you going to do? As soon as I say it, what are you going to do?
Put the end scheme on.
Put the end screen on. So you want to set the minute. So the minute I say Abdoulaye Doucouré's on today.